Hey guys, how is it going? So I want to have a discussion today about how to actually build your loadout for you. A lot of these YouTubers are putting out things that are saying, you know, run this gun, run that gun. Well, that doesn't work for everybody. So I want to have a discussion about why loadouts work and how they work to make it better for you as the player yourself. So let's take a look at my screen and get into this. So we're on True Game Data's website, like we typically are, and you'll notice one thing. Well, you're going to see that the MAC-10 and the Bullfrog, which are these two lines right here, are way slower, basically, time to kill than the, well, anything else. So what we're going to do to make this actually make sense is you're not going to use a Bullfrog and you're not going to use a MAC-10 at a distance, right? I mean, the most you're going to use it is at about 20 meters or so, which is a pretty good distance. So check this out as far as what that would actually be in game. So with that in mind, that's our usual engagement distance for a MAC-10 or a Bullfrog. So let's take into account of we're only using those when we're pushing into buildings. We're using those when we're inside close quarters areas where it doesn't make sense to have a long rifle out. So including sprint to fire time, you'll see that you've got a major advantage with the Bullfrog, and the MAC-10 just kind of peters out. And mind you, these are very, very fast timing kills anyway, but the Bullfrog is an advantage. So we're taking the MAC-10 off the list because for me, it's just not practical. Now, the real thing here is we're sitting at about 15 meters for the practical distance of the Bullfrog. Obviously, you can use it a little further than that, and you beat a big chunk of the guns doing it that way. But the AMAX is just the AMAX, and the AK-47 is just the AK-47. It's gonna win. It's a higher skilled gun, typically. So, that being said, we know that we have a weak spot, essentially after, we'll even push it to 20 meters, 21 meters. Again, 20 meters. Number keeps coming back for a reason. So, with that in mind, we are going to pop the Bullfrog off the list because we know what we're dealing with now. We know that's going to be my secondary, so you know I can just deal with that at another point. And then we'll start looking at SMGs and what the best SMG is. And spoiler, Sykov, Bullfrog are my two picks for SMG meta at this point. SMG uses at this point. The high magazine capacity of the Bullfrog means you don't have to have a magazine attached to it. The Sykov 80 round mag and ADS setup is what I've been running, and we'll talk about that in the SMG video. But right now we're talking lasers. So once you've got this set up, we're going to start looking at what the higher skill rifles are and the ones that you can't get right off the bat, which the Grau, as you can see, that light blue line, it's okay, it does its job, but it's still worse off than just about any other rifle, especially at a distance that we'd want to use it at when pairing it with an SMG. So we're just going to take that right off the list. The Kilo, it's a super easy gun to use. That being said, it loses fights for sure past 80 meters. It loses fights for sure past 48 meters with the current setup of the guns. And the constant revolving changes are something we have to be aware of, because there are going to be updates constantly. So I wanted to approach this from the aspect of what makes sense for you. So if you're a lower skill player and you need that recoil reduction, essentially, the Kilo with the Ranger foregrip is definitely the way to go for you guys. It's a pretty large reduction in vertical recoil, so it's super easy to control with controller or a new mouse and keyboard user. But for practical purposes, we're going to take that off because it's not something that I would consider using in the current state of Warzone. So we bring us to the AMAX, of course, having a pretty good lead on most of the other guns. But you'll notice that there is a gun, and this is still including sprint to fire time, by the way, because that is a factor with all of this stuff. Because you might be sprinting and you see somebody at 40 meters and you need to get that engagement while they're in the open. You want to make sure that if you guys see each other at the same time, you have enough time to hit your distance shots as well as have an extra advantage of time on your side. So again, we're looking at a few different things right now, which is the Krig 6 is currently a lot of guys talking about it. It's not my pick right now. It's just not a gun that I vibe with. You might vibe with it really well. It's just not my thing. And then we're gonna look at the XM4 and the SA87, are the two that I've been really kind of vibing with lately. And the thing with the XM4 is a fairly lasery gun. But between these two, I give the edge to the SA87 for one very specific reason. And it's not this, what is this, 27 meters all the way out to 63 meter gain. The SA87 just walks all over that gun. And the Kilo, the Grau, and the Krig. So not only that, but being a Cold War versus Modern Warfare gun, the SA87 has the advantage of having fully loaded if you want to run that as an option, which gives you full ammunition when you pick up your gun. The trade-off there would be I would get rid of the VLK probably and drop on the fully loaded. But that's not the entire story. So if we remove everything back to just you're camping in a corner and you're taking your shots and doing your thing, or the Bullfrog, or the MAC-10 again, we're going to see that, of course, the AMAX has a large advantage because it's the AMAX. And again, we'll see there is a massive disparity in the SA87 and just about anything else, which tells me that the SA87 is worth taking a look at. So let's dig a little deeper into the stats, though. You will notice that the, what is this? The Krig 6 is using, it doesn't have all the information in it right now. For the ADS time, I threw in the SUStat, which is a 88 millimeter or 8 millisecond delay on ADS speed, because that should be about what it is. Most are 40 to 50 with a 27 millisecond addition for the axial ×3. So we start looking at rate of fire, which is very, very important for lower skilled players, because it lets you get kind of your centering going. All of that coming to a head, we have the Krig, AMAX, SA87, all essentially being about the same as far as I'm concerned. The ADS time of the Krig is quick, but the XM4 is faster. The SA87 has a fairly long speed, but evidently in time to kill, that really is kind of irrelevant if you can hit your shots. But the large advantage that Cold War guns have right now is this movement speed. So ADS movement speed is what allows you to quickly move side to side, which is not a huge deal at a distance. So you'd more care about that with the Bullfrog or this super fast moving MAC-10, which is the MAC-10's advantage over the Bullfrog. That said, capacity, bullet speed, you know, there's a whole lot of other things to consider here. But the major downside with the AMAX is the 45 round magazine versus everybody else having 60, including, I believe the Krig is a 60 as well, if not 50. All of that kind of means for you as a player that we need to look at more fine-tuned things, and you need to look at how you play as a player. If you're an ADS person, I would probably run the Bullfrog. Well, if you're an ADS or hipfire person, I'd run the Bullfrog. If you are a person that likes to have a hybrid gun, the XM4 is an excellent option, and the SA87 is an excellent option, except for this hipfire and this reload speed. So this SA87 really is a past 45 meter weapon. So it does have its limitations. But again, if you grab this and you're low on ammo because you just came back from the goo, you grab your loadout, now you have full ammunition to keep moving. And that is worth a lot in itself, because let's be honest, that happens a lot to a lot of us that we come back from the gulag and need ammo. And the bullet velocity is just Grau-like, right? Both have 60 rounds, both really similarly set up. But essentially that's how I'm looking at building my kits, is I'm looking at, I have a deficiency in one spot, how do I fill that in? And then from there I go, okay, I have that deficiency filled, is there something I can do that's better? that might be a little higher skill. Okay, if I can handle that, is there something that's a little more higher skill? And then we start moving into other types of dynamics as far as flashes and things like that. And we'll talk about that in the next video. But if you guys found this interesting and this helped you guys out at all, give me a like. If you liked me, give me a subscribe. If you want to hang out and play, what we're going to do is hop on Discord here and there. Usually on every weekend, I think we're trying to get on Discord and run a private game on Verdansk, if you guys are interested in that. But have a good one, and I will see you around.